guys, it's Kristen with Simply a Stewart, and I'm back today with another video. Excuse the mess. It is Sunday, and we actually went out all day yesterday to an amusement park. Typically, we go to church Sunday nights, so we decided we all slept in because we didn't get back to really, really late, and we're back in bed after midnight. So we slept in this morning and kind of relaxed a little bit, and now my husband has taken all of the kids to my father-in-law's. It's actually beautiful out, and so they were going to play outside at Grammy's, and Daddy was going to help open the pool. Hopefully we can get in there for Memorial Day weekend. So they have all gone, and I decided that while I'm doing my prep cooking for the week that I would go ahead and do some filming. I've had some interest in what I make and how I prep it and those types of things based off of my haul videos. So I decided I'd share some of that stuff with you guys. Now, this is not everything I prep, and every Sunday, or every weekend, I guess, is different. I don't prep the same things every week. When I very first started this, I did a lot more prepping and a lot more work than I needed to do because, one, I didn't want to try a recipe and find out that my family hated it and I made like a large batch of it. So I was making smaller batches, and two, I just didn't know better. So when we started, when I found a waffle recipe and I found a pancake recipe, etc., that I liked, every week I was asking my kids, okay, what do you want for breakfast this week? And I would make that recipe. And so I was making recipes nonstop. Every weekend, I spent all weekend in the kitchen. What I found is if I batch cook things, now that I know they like them, they stay in the freezer really well. So I will batch cook things like my waffles and my pancakes and those types of things every couple weekends, and then I will go ahead and freeze them more like an Eggo, and they just take them out and throw them in the toaster, which is great. But I still have a lot of other prep. Now, I don't do a lot of dinner prep on Sundays. I just cook during the week for dinner. It's just the way it is for our family. But for breakfast and lunch, I like to have things easy to go. My husband leaves very early in the mornings usually, and as much as I love him, with my thyroid disorder, it's really hard for me to get up at 4 a.m. and pack his stuff. So I make everything on the weekend, and he can simply grab it out of the fridge to go. And then my kids, with homeschooling, I like everything to be quick and easy for breakfast and lunch. So I'm going to show you guys some of the things that I do to make it easier for me during the week, and that we still get healthy recipes in us. So here we go. Okay, guys, it is a late start for me, if you can see up on the clock there. And excuse this. I know this looks terrible. If you have followed me or know me personally, you know that we bought this house and we have been flipping our home room by room, and my kitchen, as much as I'm in here, is not done. It's not even a room we've started. So the previous owner had like these sticky towels on the wall, and they're slowly falling off, and it is what it is. So I apologize because I know that looks terrible, but life goes on. But if you can see on the clock here, it's about 11:15. It is a really late start for me for Sunday cooking. So I'm trying, I always try, but I'm definitely being conscious of my cooking. My baking takes the longest, and so today I'm going to make banana bread. Again, excuse this, I cook a ton, and so this is a very well-loved recipe book. But I'm going to start with getting something into the oven. So I'm going to get the oven preheated here, and I'm going to start this recipe so that I can go ahead and get it into bake, and then I can go ahead and do dishes for that, as well as prep some of like my veggies and easier things while this is baking, because I have a few things that I need to have into the oven today, and that just takes the longest amount of time. I don't have a double oven, so that's the first thing we're going to do. Okay, guys, so it's been about 13 minutes. I went ahead and I got this all mixed up and poured into this. We use these glass Pyrex dishes. I keep two so that I have to wash them and reuse them right away. We keep one for banana bread and one for zucchini bread. So whenever that particular bread is empty, I just go ahead and make another one. Sometimes it's, on the weekend. Sometimes it's in the middle of the week. It's just however it falls. And I do go ahead and use this like parchment paper on the inside. It makes it much easier for washing since I only keep two of them on hand. I don't have to worry about scrubbing it down if it has stuck to the sides. Plus, it's much easier for serving when we go ahead and use this. So I'm going to go ahead and get this tossed in the oven. I'm going to do up a little bit of the dishes, and we will get started on our next thing. Okay, guys, so about 10 minutes we're done with washing those dishes. I still have 30 minutes left on my timer, so I'm going to go ahead and start my husband's prep for the week. A lot of the times he will do salads. Not always. Sometimes he wants salads a couple times a week and something different. Sometimes he just doesn't want salads at all because he's all salad out. But today he said salads were good, which is great because we spent a lot of time out yesterday. And so, like I said, I have less time to prep today than usual. So this is the stuff I'm going to go ahead. I need to get things obviously cut and washed up and put into his salad. So I'm going to go ahead and make the salads. And then I had forgotten to show you guys this morning, but I will go ahead and throw a clip in shortly. I threw a chicken in the roaster early this morning, and I will use that chicken on his salads as well as on my salads for the week and on the kids' lunches. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all shaped up for you guys, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay, and this is why I don't do videos when I prep, because my brain's going all over the place. I started the salads and I realized that I only have 30 minutes left. And right now we're probably down to closer to 25 or so. And so in that, I need to get something else ready to go into the oven. Having something continually ready to go into my oven makes my prepping day go much faster, because if my oven's being turned off and turned back on, I'm just not being efficient about what I need to get done. So the next thing I need to do is my husband's muffins. So every day for breakfast, he takes scrambled eggs and he takes a grain-free muffin. And so I need to get those ready to go and into the refrigerator. He does not care for his frozen. The kids, they eat all of their breakfast things frozen. So I've actually made some things earlier this week and I do not have to make theirs. Yay! Any breakfast stuff for them, which is great. So that's all done, but I do need to go ahead and get his muffins made. So we're going to get on that right now. We're going to get on this. My husband uses this very large muffin tin. It's not the size of a regular muffin tin. So this one is a bigger, like a grocery store size muffin, if you've ever seen like their bakery size. And so I just make 6 for him. And then on Sundays, he will go ahead and have like pancakes or waffles or whatever else is at home. But he works Monday through Friday always, and a lot of times on Saturdays. And so this enables him to have something quick and easy to grab and run out the door with. So we're going to be using this recipe. None of these recipes are my own as far as baking goes. I have found these places and my family has loved them, so I have copied them into this personal recipe type book that I have. So now I will be doubling this recipe so that it fills this large tin. So I'm going to go ahead and get this prepped and we'll check in a few minutes. Okay guys, so I got this all mixed up and we're going to go ahead and get it in here. Now I know this is not the best pan. If you guys know of like an extra large muffin pan that's in stoneware, please drop it down in the comments. These are probably some of the worst pans we have in our house. We use stainless steel and cast iron on the stovetop, but I haven't been able to find something to change out my special muffin pans for. Regular muffin pans, I know they make the stoneware, but the extra large and the minis, I've been having a hard time. So if you guys know something, please let me know. In the meantime, I haven't found like parchment. I've seen they have regular size parchment paper liners, but I haven't seen the extra large again or the mini. So I don't want this sticking, but I definitely don't want to use anything Pam or anything based like that. And so we've been using ghee and just using like some type of silicone brush, basting brush, to go ahead and put in the bottoms of these to cover them and on the sides so that they don't stick. And it has worked wonderfully, and I'm happy to use this. So currently that's what we've been doing, but I would love to switch out this pan. But in the meantime, that's where we are. So I'm going to go ahead and get these set up and get them ready so that when our timer goes off, we can get these swapped. Okay, so we got that all ghee up and we got these all dished and ready to go. I checked my timer and we have about 10 minutes left before the banana bread will be going off and we have to get these in. So I'm going to go ahead and wash up more of these dishes. I find if I wash the dishes as I go, and when I have little bits of time like this, I don't necessarily get everything done in every load, but it makes it so I don't have a ton left in the end. And when I need to use something, because I only have so many bowls and things, and when I'm doing a lot of baking and a lot of cleaning of fruits and vegetables and those types of things, I'm reusing them constantly. So when I need to use something and I go to get it, it's not dirty. So I'm going to go ahead and spend the next 10 minutes or so washing dishes until the timer goes off, and then we will get these swapped out and we will probably move back into our salads. Okay, so I just pulled this out and I went ahead and I got the muffins put into the oven. Now, I usually have a lot more baking to do on the weekends than this, but this is just about it unless I jog my memory of something else. So the next thing that's going to go into my oven are these big sweet potatoes back here. My kids will be having sweet potato pizza 2 days this week, and then the other 2 days they'll be having a spaghetti squash. Now, I will make the spaghetti squash on the day of it, they're eating it, so it is fresh. I like to go ahead and prep these for lunch. I will go ahead and bake them and mash them and whatnot so that they're ready to go. So the next thing I'm going to do before I do head back over and do the salads is I'm going to go ahead quickly and just wash these because these are out of our garden. We did cure them in the fall, and they're obviously you can see they're still doing great, which is awesome. They're in a dark cellar in the basement, but we do not put any kind of water on them or anything to clean them. So I do go ahead and just clean them up before I put them in my oven just so that I don't have dirt droppings in my oven. So I will get that done and so they can go into bake as soon as these muffins are done because they only take about 25 minutes or so, 25 to 30 minutes to bake. So that's my next step. Now that I have got all those dishes over there washed, I will be able to use my sink. So I will do that and then we will pop back over to the salads that are still waiting on us. Okay, so I got those all washed up and ready to go in the oven as soon as the muffins come out. And I pulled out some stuff because I'm going to go ahead and start my husband's eggs while I'm getting some of these fruits and some of these vegetables cut up to go ahead and finish up those salads. So I do like to use my thieves cleaner when I am using specifically non-organic produce. So I do buy as much organic as we can afford, but our budget doesn't always allow for fully organic. So when I do buy things that are not organic, I always make sure that I go ahead and use this as a cleaner. If I have bought organic produce that I feel needs washed, especially if it's something that's been touched, like if there's loose apples or something like that out, I do go ahead and use some vinegar water or baking soda and go ahead and clean it that way. But I always use this in my non-organic produce. So I'm going to go ahead and get those washed up and get whatnot started. Over here, I'm going to go ahead and use these eggs. Now, these are not eggs from the store. They are eggs from our local farmer. He just has gotten whatever cartons people have given him in the past and has reused them. So when we use our eggs, I do keep these on top of our refrigerator in a stack, and every time we go back for eggs, we just return them to him. And, you know, it keeps him from having to get more, just reuse rather and reduce kind of deal. So that's what's in those. Those are eggs from the farmer. And then this is ham this time. My husband typically does sausage, but around the holidays, his mom does make a ham, and whatever ham is left over, he likes to use that in his eggs. So we just cut it and prep it and put it in these little dishes for the week and put it in the freezer. And then every week we pull it out prior and thaw it out so that I can go ahead and use it in the eggs. I do use turkey sausage, if you've seen it in my hauls, a lot of times from Aldi, and I go ahead and batch cook it the same way with different seasonings and and then I put it in these and put it into the freezer. So that is what I'll be using. So I'll go ahead and do his eggs on the stove right here in the cast iron while I am working on prepping all of these vegetables and whatnot. So, all right, that's the next step. Okay, guys, so I just pulled these out. So I'm going to let them sit and cool before I try and take them out of the pan. I've got the eggs working here. There's eggs on the stove, as you can see them going. And then over here I've been working on the carrots. Sorry for the mess. It's real life. It's messy when you're cooking. But what we do basically is we shred a bunch of the carrots because that's how we like to eat them on our salads. And then when they get too small, now some of these are bigger ones because I have enough shredded. You can see these tiny ones down here. When they get so thin that they're hard to shred, then I just chop them into pieces and I throw them in here, and then we will use these carrots for our smoothies for the week. Sometimes I will cut some up and throw them into little mason jars with a little bit of water, and my daughter will eat those. But we picked up some Brussels sprouts this week and some other kind of vegetable that they'll eat. My daughter specifically, who eats carrots a lot. So I'm not going to go ahead and make any extras of those this week. I'm just going to make the smoothie ones. So that's where we're at, and I'm going to go ahead and get this put in, and we'll check in a few minutes. Okay guys, so it's now a little after 1 and we've got the sweet potatoes baking. I've been snacking a little, so I think I might take a break for lunch. I'm not sure. But anyways, I got the salads pretty much ready. We will need to go ahead and put, like I mentioned, the chicken on this as his protein whenever that is done this evening, since I'm doing the roaster chicken. So these are all ready to go. Their salads are sometimes different, sometimes, just like this. We do add peppers and different things on from time to time, and other things, but I forgot to pull the peppers out of the freezer, and these are the things that I picked up at the grocery store this week. Now, I did leave this. If you saw, I had that can of black olives. I pour everything into here and then take some of the olives out and put them on his salads. The rest of these will remain for next week, but I found if I pour it in here with all the liquid, it stays really good with no problems for the next week. So I have these awesome screw-on lids that I got, and I'll just throw that in the fridge in the cupboard. So that's still cooling back there, but it's getting much better. You can see I can touch it now. So as soon as it cools down, I'll go ahead and get this lid on it and put it into the refrigerator. I like to keep my more paleo grain-free breads and baked goods in the refrigerator. I find they stay much better for a longer period of time. And since those types of foods don't make up a large part of our diet, I try to make them last. And I don't like them sitting out. Prior to having these awesome jars here, I did keep some of my baked goods up there when I first started. And when they would sit out for a while, even like over here, not necessarily right by the window, I just found that they were going bad more quickly. So staying in the fridge, they stay better longer. So, and then I got his muffins out, pulled out, and ready to go. And I wanted to show you guys with that ghee how easy cleanup is. It really does not stick in there. They're easy to take out. So that's why I left that there. I need to get the dishes done. So I cleaned up this area a little bit more because I like to keep my workspace pretty cleaned up, and it makes it easier at the end. But you can see there are 4 days worth of eggs there and 2 on the stove. So that'll be his 6 days. And then, like I mentioned, on Sundays, he makes breakfast at home that morning fresh. So those he will just pop into the toaster oven and heat up in the morning for like 5 minutes or so while he's gathering his other stuff. And then he's ready to go. He can grab it and eat it real quick before he heads out the door and take his muffin with him in the car. So now while I'm waiting to figure out what I'm doing next, I'm probably going to go ahead and take care of this produce. I don't know about you guys, but my kids prefer produce. They actually have come a long, long way in our journey. But if I don't cut it up and take care of it for them and have it, now some things like obviously the pineapple, they can't cut themselves, but the grapes, they can easily take them off the vines and throw them into a cleaning solution, especially like my 10 and 8-year-old. But they just won't do it unless I either make them or I do it myself. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of all that stuff. If they were home and not at Grandma and Grandpa's house, I would have my older kids especially, but even my little two, their job is to take care of the grapes. I would have them help with some of this stuff, but since they're not, I'm going to go ahead and get this produce all taken care of and into the fridge. And then I did mention that I would share this. I have my crock pot going, and I have just a roaster chicken in there. When that is done, obviously it'll be quite a while since it's in the crock pot. When that is done, I will pull that out and I will let it cool a little bit. I will shred it all off the bone, and we will add that to my husband's salads, and I will put the rest in a container for the week. Now, I will make my salads fresh for myself, and that will be for lunch, and then I will also use that on my kids' sweet potato pizza, as well as just like a topping. They'll add it into their what am I saying? Sorry, spaghetti squash. So I will make the spaghetti squash, and they'll throw that on top with a little bit of red sauce. That's how they prefer it. So we will use it all week long. So that is where we're at right now, and I will check back in with you guys shortly. All right, I started this produce, but I wanted to share something with you before I went ahead and got it all sloppy. I'm going to cut up these pineapples, and I used to hate buying pineapple, at least fresh. I would buy it canned, which we know is not best for you, but I didn't want to have to deal with cutting it. So, but somebody shared this with me, and it was amazing. We bought it about a year ago, and it's held up great, and we use it a lot. So I will cut the top of this flat off. I'll just turn it sideways here on my cutting board, and cut it off. And then we can use this and put it straight down into the center. You can see that goes right into the core, and it just twists down and you can pull the entire thing out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that part, and then I will show you how it pulls out. That literally took all of a minute. So I just cut the top off, put that center right around the center ring, and was able to twist it down in. It pulled off right here. This part right here, which I don't know if I can do it with one hand, almost, will pop off. This can go in the trash, and I can just flip this entire thing. Sorry, it's hard to do upside down, or with one hand. And you can just flip it upside down and take it off, and then I do go ahead and cut it into sections just because it makes it easier for serving in the morning for my kiddos. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up and get the other one done. Okay guys, so it is now 1:50 and my family is still not home, which is just fine. Hopefully they're having fun and being productive over there. So I did cut up all of this fruit. I'm going to go ahead and get it put into the refrigerator. My husband's eggs are all done now, so they are cooling. And then I did pull out some of the sweet potatoes so that they can cool and I can take the skins off. Some of the bigger sides of them were not yet fully cooked, and so they are still in. And then I have the rest of the produce over there that I had washed, just kind of drying. It's easier to put it in the refrigerator after it's been dried. Now, I did decide on doing 2 more things that one I remembered I should do, and the other one I just figured I'll get a little bit ahead. I still have some egg muffins in the fridge for the kids, but this week is going to be kind of crazy with dance. We have our dance recitals and stuff, and so I have a couple days where things are going to be a little chaotic. And so I'm just going to, this is just baby spinach. I'm going to go ahead and dice up a bunch of this, scramble a bunch of eggs. I dump what I dice up into the eggs, and then I put it in muffin pan. I will ghee this the same way that I ghee the big muffin pan for my husband, and then I will pop those into the oven as soon as the rest of the baked potatoes are the sweet potatoes are done baking, and I will just make them into little like little egg muffins that my kiddos will then go ahead and pop right into the toaster oven in the morning, and it makes for a quick and easy breakfast, or a piece of their breakfast for them. All right, guys, so I went ahead and I got those all made. They're sitting here and prepped and ready to go in. I did check the potatoes and another portion was done, but I actually had to cut the really big piece. That one was huge. If you follow me on Instagram, back in the fall, I guess it was, I showed in the harvest my son holding it, and it was absolutely massive. So it is going to take a little bit longer to cook, but these are prepped and ready to go. And so the very last thing I'm going to make today is avocado pudding. So my kiddos love, at least most of them, love avocado pudding. It is one of the best ways we've found to get avocados into our diet besides smoothies. And so I will just cut these open and scoop them out and put them into the processor. I will add cocoa powder, and maple syrup and a little bit of milk to thin it out, because sometimes this is a little too thick still. And I will toss it on the food processor and let it all mix. And when it thins out, I will go ahead and put it in some cups. So I'm going to go ahead and get those finished up and get them into the fridge so that they can have these for snack later. Okay, guys, so I finished this up. The rest of the potatoes came out of the oven, so I went ahead and threw the eggs in. That's going to take about 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get these into the refrigerator, and then I haven't done dishes in a while, so I'm going to get caught up on those. I only used 3 of these. These ones are pretty hard still, so I just pulled them out of the fridge when I began that last filming clip, and I didn't know, but I'm going to go ahead and save these 3 for later. I just went ahead and made these ones, and partway through the week, I can go ahead and make those. They only take a few minutes. So, but I did go ahead and make these, and they... Sorry, it's kind of messy. It's hard to see on this one, I guess. It's about a half cup. So my kiddos will eat this, and they will pair it with like an orange usually, like some kind of mandarin or something like that. Healthy fats and the sugars from the fruits go really well together in the way our bodies are designed to work. So this is something that they do use for a snack food. So I'm going to go ahead and toss these, like I said, into the fridge and go ahead and start on our dishes here. Okay guys, so the eggs are done. I just pulled them out and they will sit here and cool for a little while, and then I will get them into some Pyrex containers and put them in the refrigerator. And then like I said, they can just pop these little egg muffin things into the toaster oven in the morning and warm them up, and it is a great part of their breakfast. They get some veggies in, they definitely get some healthy fats and some protein. And then I did go ahead and mash up the potatoes that were sitting here. The other ones are on the stove and they're still cooling, but they only take a few minutes to do. So I got that finished up. And then, like I had mentioned, I got all of these dishes caught up. So those are all washed. The very last thing I am going to do, I realized my son is out of hard-boiled eggs, so he does not like those egg muffins, but he does like hard-boiled eggs, so I make these for him for breakfast. If you are unfamiliar with how to make them in the Instapot, I use the 555 method, which is really nice and really easy. So I'm going to toss these. I have this little steamer bucket, which makes it really easy. I'm going to toss this down in here. I will dump a cup of water in here. I will set it manual for 5 minutes. And when it is done building pressure and is cooked for 5 minutes, I will let it go ahead and slow release for 5 minutes, and when that is finished, I will throw it into an ice bath for 5 minutes, and then I will just take those and toss them in the fridge, and my kiddos can eat them during the week, either my son for breakfast or also for snacks. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do next. Okay guys, so we are all done. I let it slow release, and then I went ahead and finished off the release. I'm just going to take these now, and I'll just use my tongs and put them into the ice bath. So I'm going to go ahead and set them all in here. All right, and that is all of them. So I will let them sit in here. I will set the timer for 5 minutes, and then when they are done, I will go ahead and pull them out, and I will just put them in this Pyrex bowl, and I will set them into the refrigerator. Guys, that's everything for today. It was about 4 hours. It's a little after 3:15. I think it's about 3:20 right now. So about 4 hours worth of prepping today. This was a pretty average day. Some days I just have a ton I need to get done. Maybe I'm out of all of my breakfast foods and everything else, and it does take, 6 or 8 hours. But most weekends it takes me about 4. Sometimes I have to do it all in one day. Like today, we were gone all day yesterday. We got up and went to a soccer game, and then went to a company picnic for a family member, and we were gone at an amusement park, so we were gone. There just was no prepping yesterday. Sometimes I'll come home from thrifting or sourcing on a Saturday morning and cook, for 2 hours. And then on Sunday morning, I might do another hour or two, and I get to spend the rest of my those days doing other things. So it's broke up sometimes, and sometimes it's put all together. So 4 hours isn't so bad when you break it up, and it allows my family to eat healthy. And for me, that's really important. Our gut health and what we eat is really important to us, so we've made that a priority. So eating this way is a priority. Plus, I don't want to give up. I don't want my family to give up. I don't want myself to give up just because we don't have the foods made. Because honestly, I'm probably just as bad as my kids. If the stuff's not prepped, I'm not going to want to go ahead and make it. I don't mind making my salads in the afternoon, but if I have to cut and wash and do all of the produce on one day just to feed them lunch, I'm going to try and find something else that's easier, maybe grass-fed hot dogs or something. So it just makes sense to me to go ahead and spend a little bit of time prepping and allowing my family to eat healthy. So that is everything I have for you guys today. If you guys are interested in these kinds of videos, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up down there so I know to go ahead and keep making them. If you guys are new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.